Clearly, an incredibly heavy day for the family members of the hostages, the soldiers, the Israeli public, and even the diaspora. And how do we begin to cope with these emotions? For more insight, we're joined now by Dr. Camilla Forkosh-Levan, a licensed practicing psychologist and business consultant. Thank you for being with us today. I mean, on the one hand, joy, but on the other hand, pain. And everyone reacting differently to this news. So, Camila, how can people begin to navigate these conflicting feelings and emotions that they're feeling?
First of all, thank you again so much for you and the team for covering these topics, because it's crucial and we're all in it, and each one is taking it in a different way, and it's very, very important to be able to talk about it, no matter how painful it is. So yes, while the leaders fed themselves in political congratulations, we here, regular people on the ground, are very, very divided still and in a lot of pain. And while we're also obviously very, very happy for the fact that there are survivors and hopefully they will come back, as some of your guests already mentioned before, and you as well, of like, okay, so we're happy, but we're still a little bit worried. Is this going to happen? Isn't it going to happen? Is it too early to be happy yet? We want to be happy, of course, for their return. And there were already talks of like, okay, maybe we don't even know if Hamas themselves knows where everybody is. So that's also there. But we're very, very hopeful. On the other hand, as you know, the fabric of Israeli society right now is very divided already for a very long time, with a lot of protests, with a lot of people fighting on each side and having good points on each side. But it tears the whole country apart and makes it even more emotional, right? At the same time, the question is of like, okay, so let's say we have the war being stopped, but what's happening with Hamas? Because, well, obviously they're still there, even though the members that are high up obviously aren't there suffering, they're comfortably living in other places, yet they're still controlling with iron fist of fear, not only Israeli public, that they're not sure when again they will take a little bit of a breather, stop of the war, and then regroup and attack again, and maybe hostages again and everything else again, but also the people of Gaza themselves will never have freedom while Hamas is there. That's obvious. And then there's the general community, right? So many colors and so many feelings.
There's so many feelings, and there's also the feeling on the other side. You talk about when Israelis might be able to get this sigh of relief again. Many Israelis haven't had that sigh for the past 2 years. They haven't been able to fully grieve or even process the trauma because the war has continued for 2 years. On the flip side, there's this fear. Once a ceasefire happens, all of these untouched emotions are going to start flooding in. It's the time for closure for Israelis, but also finally facing what truly happened on the 7th of October. That's a tough reality for many of these Israelis to face. This is just possibly the beginning of that closure.
For sure. And also the closure, again, is not totally final, right? Because while Hamas is there, the expectation or the fear that this can happen again and potentially on a higher scale is still there. And also from the inside, all of that stuff, right? And we know in the involvement of Iran from the inside that we already also caught cells within. And then there's this diaspora there. We mentioned Manchester and all the protests, which were really interesting to see. While there is all this grief and October 7th happened, there is all this condemnation and protests actually of support of the people that cut babies' heads off and denial of that even happened. So like, how do you even heal? And then a lot of people within diaspora, Jews, feel really, really uncomfortable with being Jewish. Like saying that you're Jewish is a political statement these days, which is really weird because our grandparents didn't finish turning in their grave from Auschwitz. And you can't mention that either because then you're just being whiny. So there's no support to also really heal, right? The way there is for others. So it's very, very complex.
A lot of difficult days lie ahead, but it's important to discuss it all. And Dr. Camilla Forkosh-Levan, it's great to have you with us to discuss these important reality of what some of the Israelis and the diaspora might be feeling right now. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Stay safe.
Thank you. I want to come back here in studio.